Subscribe to History Matters right now because, well, this story cuts straight through modern survival myths and drops you into a moment when shelter wasn't about comfort or aesthetics, but about staying alive while bombs fell overhead. When people hear cloth shelter, they think flimsy tarps and temporary cover. During World War II, civilians and soldiers trusted a very different kind of fabric, one engineered to endure blast shock, fire, rain, and debris. This shelter cloth was not theoretical. It stood through bombing raids, and honestly, its design logic still outperforms many modern materials when conditions turn hostile. This World War II shelter cloth was born from urgency, not innovation for its own sake. As air raids intensified across Europe, especially in Britain and parts of continental Europe, the demand for fast deployable shelter exploded. Steel and concrete were prioritized for military infrastructure, leaving civilians and auxiliary forces to rely on materials that could be produced quickly and at scale. The answer was heavy cotton duck canvas, tightly woven and chemically treated, layered and tensioned in ways that distributed shock instead of resisting it rigidly. This cloth did not stop bombs, but it absorbed blast effects and protected occupants from shrapnel, firebrands, and collapsing debris. The strength of the fabric came from its weave, not its thickness alone. The canvas used for these shelters was woven from long staple cotton fibers under high tension. This produced a dense fabric that resisted tearing even when punctured. Under blast pressure, the fibers flexed instead of snapping. This mattered during bombing raids, where sudden overpressure could rip lighter fabrics apart. If you want to apply this principle today, avoid loose-weave tarps. Chemical treatment turned ordinary cloth into a life-saving barrier. World War II shelter cloth was typically treated with a combination of fire retardants and water-repellent compounds. Alum salts reduced flammability, while waxes, oils, or bituminous compounds shed water and soot. This meant the cloth would char rather than ignite when exposed to sparks and burning debris. In air raids, fires often caused more casualties than explosions. A shelter that resisted flame spread was critical. Modern survivalists can actually replicate this concept by using fire-retardant treated canvas and, reapplying wax-based waterproofing rather than synthetic sprays that degrade under heat. Layering was, honestly, the real secret that made this cloth endure bombing conditions. The cloth was, rarely used as a single sheet. It was doubled, or sometimes even tripled, with an air gap between layers. This trapped air acted as both insulation and shock absorption. Blast waves lost energy as they passed through successive layers, while debris was slowed or deflected. In some civilian shelters, canvas was backed with sandbags or earth, but the cloth itself was the first line of defense. To apply this today, use multiple layers with spacing rather than one heavy layer pulled tight. Tensioning, transform flexible fabric into structural protection. During World War II, shelter cloth was stretched deliberately, not just loosely draped. Proper tension allowed the fabric to distribute force across its entire surface. When debris struck, the impact energy spread outward instead of concentrating at one point. This is why many shelters survive near misses without catastrophic failure. When setting up a modern canvas shelter, you want to anchor it firmly, keep the tension even, and, avoid slack zones where force can concentrate and tear the fabric. This cloth also solved a quieter but deadly problem: moisture and cold. Bombing raids often occurred at night in rain during the winter months. Hypothermia was a real threat. Treated canvas blocked wind and rain while remaining breathable enough to prevent internal condensation. Unlike plastic tarps, which trap moisture and chill occupants, this cloth maintained a stable interior environment. World War II shelter manuals emphasized ventilation gaps combined with layered canvas rather than sealed enclosures. For modern use, this means prioritizing breathable materials over airtight plastics. Historical records confirm how well this system worked under pressure. Photographs and civil defense reports describe shelters where roofs collapsed, walls cracked, and debris rained down, yet occupants survived because the fabric barrier absorbed fragments and firebrands. In many cases, the cloth was damaged but not destroyed, allowing reuse. This is a key lesson. Survival materials should fail gradually, not catastrophically. Canvas tears slowly, plastic shreds instantly. The reason this shelter cloth faded from memory is simple. After the war, plastics were cheap, shiny, and promised convenience. Canvas was labeled old-fashioned and heavy, but convenience is not resilience. World War II shelter cloth was designed by people who expected failure and, well, prepared for it. That mindset is exactly what modern survival planning often lacks. This is not nostalgia, it is engineering wisdom earned under fire. When bombs fell, nobody trusted marketing claims. They trusted what held up yesterday and could be repaired tomorrow. Canvas shelter cloth met that standard. If you want more historically grounded survival knowledge that was proven when lives depended on it, go ahead and subscribe to History Matters and, share this with anyone who thinks modern tarps are the peak of shelter design. The past already solved this problem, and it did so under the harshest conditions imaginable.